Hey sis, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I dedicated it to oily prone skin. So if you do have oily skin and want to know what kind of makeup products to use, what kind of skincare, some tips and techniques on how to really combat that oil, then just continue to watch. So the first thing you guys want to make sure is done is making sure that your skincare is prepped. So depending on your skin type, today we are focusing on oily skin. You want to make sure that you're using products that cater to your skin type. So for me, I know I like to switch up my products depending on the weather. The weather changes a lot here where I live in Canada. So I use different products during different seasons. For example, I am using an oil. Now, oil for oily skin is probably, kind of intimidating or scary. Like, you don't want to put oil on top of skin that's oily, but for me, it's super dry. Like, my skin changes. However, I do still get oily in my T-zone. So I like to go in with a very light hand. Like, I don't go too heavy with this oil. So I like to go in with just enough to just moisturize my skin. I would, however, recommend any type of gel-based moisturizer for oily skin. So these types of moisturizers are perfect for oily skin just because they don't have all of that extra oil or anything. It's literally gel-based and it still moisturizes the skin without overproducing that oil. So I am gonna go in with my Palmer's Cocoa Butter Oil, and I'm gonna just show you guys exactly what I mean when I don't go in with too much. So I literally put 2 dots on my face and just blend it in. So because I am going in with the oil, all the products that I'm using in terms of makeup have to be mattifying. It has to be something that will control my oils and not overproduce my oils. So with that being said, we're moving on to primers. So for primers, if you are oily skin, you guys want to pick up a mattifying primer. So here are just a few primers I have in my stash. These are all drugstore primers. So one is the Milani No Pore Zone Mattifying Primer. Anything with pores, even if it doesn't say mattifying on it, if it is for pores, that's still kind of controlling your oils. So if you have very big pores, those are producing oil. So you want to make sure that if it does say pore, it is for oily skin. I do have the NYX Shine Killer. So this one here, it says it all. It's supposed to help eliminate that excess oil if you are oily skin. And then I have my Makeup Revolution Mattify Primer. So there are options out there for oily skin. If you are someone that does not want to or doesn't believe in primers, obviously you could skip this step. So I am gonna go in with my Milani No Pore Zone primer. And for me, I don't like putting primer all over my face because I honestly don't think I'm oily skin. I'm combination, but sometimes I can be oily. It's weird. My skin is just weird like that. But I do like to focus the primer in my T-zone. I notice my T-zone likes to get oily before anything else anyways. So I personally like to just focus it in my T-zone. All right, so you guys never see me do this. However, I do implement it whenever I know I'm going to be going out, staying out for long periods of time with makeup on. So if you know you are going to be wearing makeup for 12 plus hours for like a long time, this step is literally gold. Like, it will make sure that you are mattified. It will make sure that your skin stays matte for a longer period of time. So what I'm going to be doing is going in with a translucent powder. So I am going to be using my Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is in the medium deep formula. And I am going to be taking my damp beauty sponge. And what we're going to do is apply the powder to everywhere, especially the places you know you get oily a lot. So for me, I know it's my nose and my forehead and just this area beside my nose. So we're gonna just pat that translucent powder in those areas. So you can go in with any type of translucent powder. You can go in with even just a face powder. So for example, the Fenty Beauty press powder, you can just apply just a little bit just to the T-zones before going in with your foundation or your concealers. All right, so now I'm going in with my concealer, and this concealer I'm going to be using to conceal my dark under eyes. This one here is a mattifying concealer. Most concealers will claim whether it's matte, dewy, normal, whatever. So specifically this one, it is a Stay Matte concealer, so it is mattifying. I am gonna just apply it underneath my eyes. Just conceal those dark bags. And I'm just gonna take a brush to blend it out. I'm gonna go in with one more layer just cause. All right, so moving on to foundation. Obviously, I've been mentioning this word throughout this whole video. You wanna go in with a mattifying foundation. So I'm gonna be using the Revlon Color Stay Combination Oily Skin. This literally says on the packaging that it's for oily skin. So anything that claims it's for oily skin, or if it uses the word mattifying, soft matte, those are perfect for oily skin. So one thing I like to do is go in sections. I don't like to put too much foundation on. I like to start off with a little and then obviously work my way up. I feel like the less product you use, the less oil production will happen throughout the day. So just go in with a very light hand. So what I'm doing is just applying the foundation to the back of my hand and using the butt end of my sponge to blend it on my face. All right guys, so now that the foundation is on, you guys could tell that it is a mattifying foundation just because it doesn't leave that dewy finish. All right, so we're gonna move on to concealing, and this part is self-explanatory, so I'm just gonna let you guys watch this part. I am going in with my LA Girl Pro Concealer. This is in Fawn. I'm gonna go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. Just apply some to the back of my hand, and we're just gonna lightly contour. All right, so our creams and liquids are out of the way. We're gonna go in with some powder. So I'm gonna take my CoverGirl Banana Setting Powder, and we're just going to set our highlighted areas. Now, if you have oily skin, you can leave the powder on for a few minutes or seconds. Don't leave it on too long. I'd say about up to a minute is good. And then you can begin to blend it out. So the main thing for oily skin is to make sure you're powdered up. Powder is our best friend, but we don't want to overdo it either, because if we overdo it with powder, it can start to make us produce excess oil, which is not what we want. So we just want to make sure that whatever cream or liquid we do go in with, we set it with some powder. All right, so just to set my contour and kind of bronze it up, I am gonna go in with my Essence Matte Bronzing Powder Palette, and it looks like this. This is Black Girl friendly, guys, and this palette was less than like $10. It was super cheap, so if you are looking for a very cheap contour bronzing palette, this is it here. I'm going to go in with this shade here. It's the second darkest shade, and we're just going to set our contours. All right, sis, we're almost done. It's all coming together. So I'm gonna go in with our last and final powder product, which is our all over powder. I'm gonna go in with my Fenty Pro Filt'r powder foundation. This is in 420. And all we're doing is taking a big fluffy brush and we're going to set everything in place and kind of just bring everything together. So I'm just gonna dab this all over my skin. And this is just going to mattify the rest of your makeup, guys. Going to finish everything up. Alright, so I'm gonna finish up my eye makeup off camera and then I'll be back to finish up the last few tips on makeup for oily skin. Alright, so I finished up the rest of my makeup off camera. So the last step is to go in with your setting spray. So there's different types of setting spray. So there's a mattifying setting spray, there's a dewy setting spray, there's just a regular finishing spray. So depending on your skin type. Obviously for oily skin, we are gonna go in with a mattifying. So I'm gonna be using my Makeup Revolution Pro Fix Oil Control Fixing Spray. And this is just gonna keep us mattified throughout the day. Alright guys, so that's it for my tips and tricks on oily skin and just what products to use for oily skin and combating that extra oil that we produce on our skin. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel and haven't subscribed, make sure you are subscribed and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.